If you're anything like most people, myself included, when I first started learning pen testing, you're probably making one huge mistake that is going to set you back no matter how much time you put into learning cybersecurity. Now, what makes this mistake so sinister is that it's actually very difficult to notice that you're doing it. It definitely took me some time as well. And I know a lot of people that are making this mistake, and people that I've worked with even like, let's say 6 years ago, and they're still stuck where they're at because of this. And make no mistake, these people actually do put in a lot of hours into learning pen testing and trying to level up. Now, once you do become aware of this issue, it's very easy to fix. That's the good news for you. And it's only a matter of time from that point that you're ready to start, looking for pen testing jobs, whether that is a newer, higher paying job within the field, or just coming into this field and looking to nail that interview process. You're definitely going to want to be armed with the top 10 pen testing interview questions that you need to know to absolutely crush it. So check that out down in the description below, absolutely for free. Now, when I was first learning pen testing, I watched a lot of IPSec videos. A lot of you guys probably heard me talk a lot about this legendary guy in the space, right? He makes some really excellent content. He still does as well. But the problem that I ran into was I was overly relying on his walkthroughs and stuff of challenges. And I was reading a lot of books and stuff because people would recommend great resources to me. And in their defense, they were really solid resources. However, I noticed that, after a certain point, it became a bit of a diminishing return as far as what kind of value I could gain from those resources. So one of the biggest improvements that I made, one of the biggest shifts that had a massive impact on how quickly I could level up, how quickly I could advance myself, was by leaning myself more to production rather than consumption. So you want to produce more than you consume. And that is the main issue. Most people do it the opposite way around. And a lot of this comes from the fact that they're a little bit afraid, right? They're afraid to fail. They're afraid to, because let's face it, it's tough, right? If you just go at like a CTF, or you just go at, you learn something new, a new concept, and try to go put your hands on the keyboard and reproduce it, make it happen, demonstrate it, do a challenge that involves that, and you don't have any guidance, anything, you're kind of cut loose. But when you're on a pen test, like say you actually do achieve your goal of getting hired on as a pen tester, you're going to be, for the most part, turned loose, right? You're going to be faced with, what do I do next, and all of that stuff. And in that moment, you have to be trained up for that moment, right? In order to be able to provide value, you're probably going to be, if you get a new job or something, especially, you're probably going to be encountering new technologies, some things you've never seen before. And that's why it's so important to develop that skill set of being able to take on something that you're either not too familiar with, or maybe not familiar with at all, and be able to use Google and use your resources to research something so that you can immediately apply it, right? As you learn this stuff, you should be looking to immediately apply it, and a lot of the people that I've worked with in the past, especially at my first job, like I keep mentioning, a lot of those people, they would spend tons and tons of hours on cybersecurity, but they would just be going through resources and stuff like that. I mean, it even manifested with how they tackled programming as well. Maybe, I think a lot of people on my channel have had the experience of trying to learn a programming language. And, if you had an unsuccessful attempt, maybe the problem was that, you just read through the book and you just followed along with the exercises rather than going off the beaten path and experimenting with stuff, getting your hands on the keyboard and actually building stuff for yourself outside of just the tutorials. People talk about tutorial hell and stuff like that. That's how that comes about, is you just get stuck in only doing tutorials and not taking the next step of, going off and building something on your own. Because whenever you try to accomplish a particular goal in an unguided way, it's going to, problems are naturally going to come up. You want the problems to come up because that's going to guide you in the direction of what you should learn next, right? A long time ago on this channel, I used to have the phrase I used to say all the time is learn things on an as-needed basis. So everything you're learning should have a purpose, should have a reason behind it. Why are you learning this thing, right? Because if you're not very clear on that, it's really easy to fall into the trap of, I would like to learn about this because this is cool, and this is cool. I'd like to learn about this because it's cool. but you need a strong why behind all of your learning and all of your things, especially fairly early on when you know that, like, okay, I want to be a pen tester for sure. And you're trying to optimize the amount, minimize the wasted time and get there as quickly as possible. What you're really going to want to do is focus in your precious time and attention towards that goal. So what's going to help you with that is, instead of just learning things because you think they're cool, let's be honest, there's a lot of really cool stuff in this field. That's what I absolutely love about it. But at the same time, if my goal is to, say you're a pen tester, you want to become a red teamer, you should be super focused on anything that would relate to red teaming. And once you become a red teamer, then you can expand that out to maybe some binary exploitation, some other stuff that you wanted to learn that you kind of put on the back shelf for now, right? Because that's something that's important to note as well. If you really struggle with saying no to learning, all these hot new things, the cool things that pop up, right? Like a lot of people are trying to learn the smart contract hacking right now. That is like a huge thing, the blockchain, hacking the blockchain, smart contracts and stuff like that. But if your goal is to get into cybersecurity as a pen tester, as a red teamer or something like that, you got to ignore the hype and the buzz, and you just got to put that aside. Now, here's something that could help you if you have trouble doing that, is that just realizing that this is a temporary thing, that you're going to put that other cool thing on the shelf. You can always come back to it later. Trust me, it will be there. When you're ready, it will be there, unless you wait like 20 years and all technology has changed. Then I can't guarantee you anything, but for the most part, if you want to learn it later, it'll be there. You got to view your life in terms of seasons, right? We have different seasons of our lives. Like, think about if you ever went to college before. Most likely, your life during that span of 4 years or however long it took you was so much different than it is now, right? With whatever you're doing. And in a similar way, if you really want to get into pen testing, you're going to have to go through a season in your life where this becomes like a hyper-focused priority. Now, that's not to say once you get a job, you take your foot off the gas pedal and you don't do anything and you don't evolve and you don't learn. But just know that, the things you're going to be super focused on right now aren't necessarily going to be the things you're focused on in 5 years, right? Because there's different things you need to learn to get to different levels you're trying to get to. But throughout this process, you want to make sure that you don't fall into the trap of consuming rather than producing. So let me know, like, how are you going to apply this strategy today? I really want to know. And I don't want to make this video too long, because I don't want you guys sitting watching a super long video instead of, as a way of procrastinating. I don't want to allow you guys to procrastinate anymore. Forget about the failure. It doesn't matter if you fail. You could just try again until you succeed, right? I mean, really, we're in control of, how far we can take this stuff, and we're in control of when we give up, right? It's not over until we say that it's over. So I'll go ahead and put up some technical content on the screen right now, just to tempt you guys, but do not click on those videos. Do not watch those videos. I don't want you to procrastinate any longer. I want you to get your hands on the keyboard, go out and start applying what you learned. Spend less time watching my videos. Maybe it's not the best thing to say for watch time on my channel, but I really want you guys to succeed. So by all means, do not watch the videos on screen right now. Go and take some action. I'll see you in the next one.